The third bill that I really has been sort of a cause for me for some time is the urban development area bill. For the first time in 2007, we set up what are called urban development areas that require all localities to designate areas where they want their growth to occur. I believe that part of the problem that we've seen all across our area is by right development on large lots, and it's eating up all of the parkland, it's eating up all of, everything that we find beautiful out here is being eaten up by housing being built on 5, 10, and 20 acre lots. What this urban development legislation does is it requires the locality, hopefully inside of a town on a public water and sewer system, to say, here's where we want our growth to be, and we're going to let it occur at densities that basically make it cost effective for the local government to support it. If you got 4 people with a water and sewer line per acre, it's a heck of a lot less expensive as if you have 1. And so this year we've got a further definition of the urban development areas that does 2 things. One is it creates a second tier for the cities that says it has to be 8 units per acre. Now, what we're hoping is with all the development in Tyson's Corner around rail and things of that nature, that they'll absorb a whole lot more of the development down in the urban centers, which will mean less development spilling out to our area. And then even when it spills out to our area, hopefully with the requirement of these urban development areas, that development will occur on the edges of towns or inside of towns, so that my children, when they're my age, they can go out and hike and fish and hunt and do all the things that everybody here moves here for, so that 50 years from now we're not looking at just a sea of housing. And so those are probably the 3 most important bills to me from a public policy standpoint this session.
Quickly, what do you think is going to happen in the North Corridor? A judge has ruled that there was a North Corridor agreement that came into being when you were mayor.
That's correct.
And it said that the town could collect all the taxes that could be passed on as though the business were in town. The town interpreted that to mean meals tax.
That's correct.
And the judge has said that it was illegal. You were involved in that case.
That's correct.
Your side prevailed,
Mm-hmm.
and the town has opted not to appeal. The solution is that I think it's about $600,000 a year that they're going to lose.
Well, I think that I've heard that number. I think it's a much lower number than that. First of all, let me say this.
What's going to happen? Do you think it's going to just the town's not going to collect it, or do you think a revenue share will happen, or do you think that they'll move to annex?
Well, number one, let me say I was encouraged by the fact that the town decided not to, to continue to spend taxpayer dollars fighting, this battle that, in my judgment, a year and a half ago, I've been saying I didn't think that they were on strong financial footing. So, I was glad to see that and that change of heart, and I think they should be complimented for that, to kind of say, okay, let's move on now and try to do the right thing for the community. Having said that, I think it is now incumbent upon the county to try to work with them to assist them as well. The town, to their credit, is providing water and sewer to probably the most important area for economic development in our region. That is the financial engine that has built our schools. It's built all of the public infrastructure that we've seen here. It's kept the tax rate low. Since that agreement was adopted when I was mayor 10 years ago, the town has never had a tax increase. So it's been a very beneficial agreement. It's kind of reaching the end of its productive life, and I think it's important for the town and the county to sit down again and talk about what new areas in the county should or should not be developed, and work out additional agreements that also keep that revenue stream going. Having said that, even with the judge's ruling, it's a tremendous deal for the town of Front Royal to supply water and sewer out there. The reality is it's a very high water and sewer rate that subsidizes the rate for all the citizens who live inside the town. So it's still a good deal for them. But I think it is incumbent and most important, and I know when I was in local government, that local governments work together. And sometimes that means you have to give a little bit. You have to be the one that gives something so that you can get something in return. Cooperation does not mean this is the way I want it, do what I say, or we're not going to do anything. Cooperation means I'm going to give you something and you give me something back. And I was really encouraged by their decision not to appeal it, because maybe that'll set the groundwork for some agreements between the two governing bodies.
I would say easier said than done, given the makeup of the two bodies, but
Well,
it's always nice to be optimistic.
Yeah, well, politics is both public policy and it is personalities, and that's something that you can't control, and generally speaking, the electorate controls that at intervening elections. But having said that, I don't think that necessarily annexation is always the answer. Revenue sharing agreements are wonderful things. It's in the code. It's a way for the two local governments to work together towards their future. But it is always that additional tool in the toolbox that a town continues to have. And I think in many ways, when the state took away the ability of cities to annex, that has caused a lot of the urban sprawl that we've seen in the Commonwealth too. So I don't think annexation is always a bad thing. But I think that cooperative annexation, where both bodies benefit from it, is going to be in the best interest of the community. We've still got additional schools we need to build here. And we need to do that without raising taxes on people. We need to bring in additional jobs. That can't be done without the town's water and sewer, which cannot be done without the county cooperating with the town to bring those things in. We at the state level can set broad policies, but the reality is the local governments are who really affect your lives the most. And if they're working against each other, that is just not productive for the community and for the people who live here. I was encouraged by their decision. I hope that that is an indicator of future cooperation between the town and the county, and I guess that remains to be seen.